What's up, Mafia? So let's start with Jalen Hurts, because this man just sent a message to everyone, and most people missed it. A few weeks ago, a hit piece dropped, and I'm calling it what it is, a hit piece. It was filled with unnamed sources saying that Jalen Hurts was uncoachable, that he doesn't want the motion offense, and that he's pushing back against all of his coaches. Now look, criticizing Jalen Hurts about his arm, his mechanics, his reads, that's fair game. That's football. But saying that he's uncoachable, that attacks his character. And that's something that's completely different. Because Jalen Hurts has gone on the record saying that he wants to be coached hard. He said it multiple times. So, when sources are whispering to reporters that he's checked out and he's not willing to learn, that doesn't add up. And Hurts knew it didn't add up. So what did he do? He posts pictures training with Scott Leffner, his former quarterback coach, a guy who was on the Eagles coaching staff. If Hurts had such a bad relationship with all the coaches around him, why is Leffner still in his corner? Why is Leffner still with him, putting in work during this offseason? And then Hurts dropped the caption. This didn't happen fast. This happened because I never stopped. And that's not an accident. That's a response. A quiet, calculated, unbothered response. And think about the timing. Every time the media tries to bury this man, every time, he comes back stronger than the last. NFC Championship, Super Bowl run during his rookie contract, then winning a Super Bowl during his contract extension. Now, ask Joe Burrow if getting back to a Super Bowl was easy. Ask Josh Allen, ask Lamar Jackson. They can't even get to one. So yeah, who's ever whispering to these reporters, Hurts already answered you. On Instagram, with a photo, not even tagging you in it. Because he knows you're watching and he knows you see it. Now, let's talk about something that should have more people fired up. The New England Patriots have been blatantly, publicly, repeatedly tampering with AJ Brown. And the NFL is doing nothing about it. So let's go through the receipts. Back at the Combine in February, Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel was asked about AJ Brown. And instead of saying he's under contract, I'm not discussing that, Vrabel talked about texting AJ Brown, being a two-way support system, and he alluded that AJ was going through struggles in Philadelphia and that he understood. That's the head coach of another team talking about your player as if he's already on their roster. Then at the owners' meetings, Vrabel again entertained the idea publicly. He said, per multiple outlets, anything we can do to strengthen our roster, we're going to try to do just that. He said they've been talking about it since last January. Since last January. And then Kevin Byard, current Patriots player, former teammate of AJ Brown in Tennessee and in Philadelphia, gets on the camera and says, AJ, I would love for you to come to join us in New England.
AJ's a dog. Brown. That's first of all, he's a dog. As a player, he's a dog. He's a great teammate. I've literally watched him grow as a player and a person. He's a phenomenal guy. He's a family man. We actually trained together in Nashville. So I'm gonna be the first one to say, AJ, I would love for you to come join us in New England. Trust me, I see the rumors. I see everything
That's your
going down.
Right there.
That's my camera.
Yeah, there you go.
AJ Brown. Come on to New England, buddy.
On camera, in public, talking to a guy who's under contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. The NFL's own tampering policy says any public or private statements of interest in another club's player to a member of the news media is a violation. Any public statement. Kevin Byard just did that on camera. Vrabel did this at press conferences multiple times. Then you look at the situation involving Diana Rossini. That forced her to resign from The Athletic. We don't have confirmation of what happened between Vrabel and Rossini, but the Eagles have a strong case of tampering. And now you have multiple reporters covering players' pro days, but you have no one showing up to investigate what the Patriots have been doing for the last year and a half. The NFL needs to start looking into this, and if they don't, the Eagles should be pushing for it. And now we've got Nick Foles weighing in. On his podcast, Foles said he's talked to people around the league, and from what he's gathered, AJ Brown wants to be traded. He said he thinks that New England makes a lot of sense because of the connection with Vrabel. He said AJ grew up a Patriots fan. He went from thinking it was about 80-20 that AJ stays to now saying it's 50-50, leaning towards a trade before the season.
Like you said, Howie Roseman's not shutting it down. He's not saying he's an Eagle right now. That makes me, and what they're doing, like you talked about, they're making their receiver room stronger. They have a first-year coordinator in Sean Mannion. You don't want to deal with, what they dealt with last year with AJ. Now, AJ had merit looking back. Like, why was he frustrated? Well, it was why the concepts of the offense and how it was ran with Kevin Patullo. Looking back, that's maybe what the frustration was. Was it with Jalen Hurts? I don't know. I'm not in the facility. No idea. But because of those things and different people I know around the league that know AJ a little bit, I would think what I've gathered is wants to be traded, but I also think like he wants to be traded to specific places. I think New England would make a lot of sense because of his history of Vrabel. I think that's obvious, right? And I think he even said he grew up a Patriots fan, if I'm correct. So that would be like twofold situation. But really because Howie's not shutting it down. If A.J. Brown's not happy, which it seems like he's not super happy in Philly, but he's got to give the lip service to say he is. I'm with you. I think it's 50-50. A couple weeks ago, I was like maybe 80-20.
Yeah.
You know, he's an Eagle to where he gets traded. That's now shifting to where I do think he'll get traded before the start of the season.
Now, I respect Nick Foles. He's not a guy with an agenda. He's not a guy who's looking to start drama. But the way he framed it, from what he gathers, it sounded like speculation on top of some real information. So we can take it with a grain of salt because he's not in the building and he's not talking to AJ directly. And now it just got more real because John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia just posted this. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, AJ Brown is likely to be traded to the New England Patriots on June 1st or after. The Eagles and the Patriots are expected to pick up trade talks right after this week's draft. And this is the part that tells you everything about where Howie's head is at. The Eagles prefer draft picks in 2027 and 2028. Not this year. Future picks later on down the line. Which means Howie isn't just trading AJ. He's building the next window at the same exact time. Schefter also reports the Rams had a proposal on the table, but it involved picks from after 2026, which is exactly what Philly wants anyway. And on top of all of that, the Eagles are also likely making a move for Vikings defensive end Jonathan Greenard. So, we're potentially talking about trading your number one receiver and adding an edge rusher in that same window. Through all that, what we do know is this. Howie Roseman still hasn't shut it down. When reporters asked him point blank, his answer was, AJ Brown is an Eagle. That's it. He didn't say he wasn't going anywhere. He didn't say conversations are over. And per Jeff Darlington at ESPN, the Eagles are going to operate in the NFL draft as if AJ Brown won't be on the roster in 2026. And that's the part that matters. Not what Foles thinks, and not what Mike Vrabel hopes. This is what the Eagles are actually doing. So the Eagles are building this draft around a roster that might not have AJ Brown on it. And look, from a front office standpoint, I get it. I totally do. You have to plan for both scenarios. You can't just walk into the draft blind. But here's the problem. If you go into this draft desperate, if you convince yourself that you need a receiver right now at pick 23, you run the risk of blowing up your board. You begin to reach, and reaching in round one for the Eagles has burned them in the past before. Now, you got Jordan Tyson from Arizona State is a name that keeps coming up. Reporter Jordan Schultz confirmed over 20 NFL teams, including multiple GMs, showed up to his personal workouts. The Eagles were one of those teams that was there. And the Enquirer's Devin Jackson said Tyson's name keeps coming up in the NovaCare Complex. He called it a realistic opportunity. He said Tyson can play outside, inside, create separation, and get you yards after the catch. He fits what Sean Mannion wants to run. He'd be the perfect replacement for AJ Brown. But the red flag, it has got to be his health. Tyson has had ACL, MCL, and PCL injuries. He also had hamstring injuries throughout his college career at Colorado and Arizona. And he's missed 48% of his college games. If he slides to the second round, you go ahead and you pull that trigger. If he's there late in the first, that's the real conversation. But the Eagles cannot let the AJ Brown situation panic them into a reach. Stay true to the board. That's the only move. Now, this one is huge, and no one's talking about it. Dexter Lawrence, former Giants star tackle. We already know he requested a trade. The Giants and Lawrence couldn't agree on an extension, and negotiations broke down completely. He ended up being traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. So why does this matter to Eagles fans? And it's all because of Jalen Carter. Carter and his agent Drew Rosenhaus are waiting. They've been waiting all offseason, and we know exactly why. They were watching the Lawrence situation unfold, because Lawrence is the benchmark, and Lawrence is comparable. Over the last 3 seasons, Lawrence recorded 14 sacks, 128 tackles, and 21 tackles for loss, while Jalen Carter performed in that same window. 13.5 sacks, 108 tackles, and 25 tackles for loss. Half a sack difference over 3 years. And Carter is 3 years younger. So if Lawrence resets the market at $30 million plus, Carter's price just went up immediately. Now Carter didn't help himself last season. Injuries, inconsistency, and the ejection. His leverage took a hit. But when he's locked in and when he's healthy, that man is a game wrecker. Jordan Davis already got his extension. The Eagles have shown that they'll pay for production. Now all Carter needs to do is go out there and earn it. And here's the other thing about Lawrence being gone from the Giants. The Eagles no longer have to deal with him anymore. Their interior linemen get easier matchup in those divisional games. That's real football impact, not just the cap conversation. So in my opinion, the extension will happen. It's just a matter of when and how much Lawrence still sets the price. So, this is exactly where we are as Eagles fans. We all know there's never a quiet moment. But here's what I keep coming back to. Howie Roseman has a plan. He always has a plan. He has a plan A, he has a plan B, and he has a plan C. He's not walking into the draft when nervous, and neither should we. But what I want to see is Howie Roseman being true to the board. Don't panic over AJ Brown. Don't overpay a receiver in round 1 over fear. Always go for the best player available. Let Jalen Hurts cook with whatever weapons are there. And let's hurry up and get Jalen Carter signed. This team just won a Super Bowl. The core is still intact. And I know the noise is loud right now, but the noise is not reality. Now let me know what you think. Do you think the Eagles should push for tampering charges against the Patriots? Do you want Jordan Tyson in the first round? And where do you land on the Jalen Carter contract extension? Drop it in the comment section and let me know. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. So once again, I've been Brother Shy, and this has been the Midnight Green Mafia.